Hi, my name is Noel Davis, and welcome to my wormiculture update for our first bin. This is our week, I think, 17 update. I missed week 16. I was out of town, and I put in some food to make sure everything was okay. I can't remember, but I think I might have added some coffee grounds before. But we're going to take a look at the bin. It's been 2 weeks now. I haven't touched it. I haven't even looked at it because I haven't had any time. So this happens quite often with worms, and it's not a big deal. They can go for a long time without human intervention really in their bin. As long as you have food, bedding, they can go for weeks or even months. I mean, there's one time where I just left a bin here for I think a month without adding anything to it, and they had gone through everything in the bin. Population was probably a little lower than normal, but it's really not that big a deal. It's just the way it is. They tend to do better actually when they don't have a lot of things going on in the bin and people touching it and moving stuff around, and they seem to do actually better a lot of times without human intervention. So let's take a look at the bin. We're going to add some more coffee grounds this time and possibly some food depending on the way it looks inside. So let's take a look. All right, so here's our bin here, and it's a little wet on top because I had another bin sitting on top of it, but let's just take a look. All right, I'm not seeing no moisture on the lid this time, so the bin's a little bit dry maybe compared to what it should be, but that's okay. It's good to dry things out sometimes and kind of let them let the bedding kind of soak up some of the moisture in the bin. So let's just dig in here a bit. I still see a fruit fly over here, some sort of fly over here, but not nearly as many as we saw the one time we opened it. It was just loaded. There's still actually some of the burlap in here. Right here you can see this is the burlap that was in the bin before, and it's still in here. There's some worms on the side here, so the worms are still in here. They seem to be congregating. Actually, there's even more on this side right over here. They seem to be congregating on the sides here. I wonder if might be a little bit dry in here now for these worms. Okay, actually, as we get down here lower to the bin, there's a little bit more moisture. Again, more worms, more bedding. Still no real smell. It has a very earthy type smell to it, so it's not too wet. A little dry here in the bottom still. It's not, this bottom section here, it's a little hard to get the light right, but it's not overly soaked. It's not like it's sitting in water, which is good. Lots of dry bedding on top, as you can tell. Let's just dig around the other side of the bin here too, see what we find. Still more burlap. And this burlap, I can tell it's starting to dry out in some areas, so we might need to add, maybe not this time, but next time I might add some really good food. Not many worms in this section. So as I'm digging in here, I'm not seeing many worms. So, but that's what can happen. Sometimes they can start spreading out. They also, as the conditions kind of get bad, they also have noticed start going into, let's make cocoon mode, where you'll find a lot of cocoons sometimes in some sections of the bed. So I'll just dig in the middle here for a second. A little bit more moist in the middle. Let's see if I can dig up some of this stuff. A little bit more moist, as you can tell from the burlap is still here. But, there we go. There's some nice worms in here on this side. So, the worms are still in here. It's doing okay. It's recovered from the fruit flies where they were just everywhere the last one time that we took it off. But we're going to keep adding some food to the bin. Now, this time I have some leftover wheatgrass that I didn't get to before I went on a vacation here. So this is kind of, it's on the drier side. Let me get out the label there. But this isn't good for human consumption anymore. It's been sitting way too long, and it's way past its expiration date. So I'm just going to put some of that in there. And then I've got some more coffee grounds. This is the container. I get them from my office here. And hopefully that'll add a little bit more, some nutrients to here. Hopefully none of this stuff grows either. This is the first time I'm adding wheatgrass to a bin. Normally I juice it all in my juicer and I'll add it as juiced, but never as full like this. Normally I've already consumed it, or had my juicer consume it, I should say, and chop it up. So I'm going to just kind of mix this up a little bit here. Kind of mix it up into the bin here a little bit too. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it up with some of the extra bedding I've got around here. Now, as you can tell, this bin is very full. Actually, this is some of the coffee stuff that we've added in the past too. But it's very full, and it's very dry right now. Now, I think at some point, I think maybe next week, we're going to add some more wet material again to the bin to kind of get it wet. And we might have to go ahead and add some water. And I will actually have an entire video just about water, because water is something that's very important for worms. and it's very important to also make sure there's not too much water. So it's one of those things that's very hard to balance. Like this right now, this is very dry. This is too dry. I mean, there's almost no moisture in there at all. There's very little. But that's sort of what I wanted to have happen because of the fact that we had that fruit fly issue where they were just streaming off of here like crazy. And with that, we had to try to get rid of them. So adding the coffee grounds, adding the bedding on top, and they're essentially gone. So that's the purpose of doing that. So that's my update for this week. As you can tell, it still has worms in it. It's still doing well. It's not up to the processing potential that I would like it to be by this point, but it's still working. So I'm hoping next week we can really add and just do a huge food add probably to the bottom of the bin or middle of the bin and see how that turns out in a couple weeks. So hope you enjoyed, and thank you.